the preseason and then thusly get into the regular season after we kind of check out our roster, make some changes. The team is at an 82 overall, so we only went up 1 overall. I would argue the defense is better. We got Clinton Dix there. A little bit of a downgrade from Anthony Harris, but definitely serviceable. We got our 2 superstar linebackers here, and then we'll have to take a look and see 71 overall. Dante Starks might be it. He's definitely got the coverage. Still not great, but we're going to go ahead and start him over Troy Dye here. I don't really know how he made our roster. And then obviously we got our first round pick there, Samuels, slotting in very nicely next to Michael Pierce. Hopefully he can make an instant impact on that line. Got our corners. Everybody, for the most part, is in the exact same positions. Let's take a look at our specialist. It's still got Jefferson in the slot. I'm going to move Palmer there because, like I said, I wanted to, but also slot receivers do really well in Sims. So we can kind of see if we can cheese that to get him a dev upgrade or something, kind of get him going better off and go from there. So we will go ahead and advance to the regular season, set our goal, and then move into year 2. So final outlook at the roster going into year 2. We got here Kirk Cousins down to 79 overall. Still the same quarterback. Offense, almost the exact same. Only real addition is Palmer here. For a wide receiver, we took out Tajay Sharp, moved in with him. So pretty good. Drew Samia's up to a 70 overall, so he went up a couple points after that experience last year, which is always good to see. Reef, we're going to need to move on from after this season, definitely, because he was a liability and he's only regressing. I guess to see if it changes the outlook on our team's performance, we're going to start Kyle Rudolph again. Irv Smith was not as good as anticipated last year, so we'll kind of ride Kyle Rudolph into this season, see how it goes. Defensively, a couple changes. We got Samuels, our first overall pick, slotted in there. Should be an instant impact player. I'm excited. That's the first time I've ever taken the number 1 guy in the draft as far as like true talent, which is awesome. I should have gone and looked through the dev traits of the draft, but I didn't. I don't want to cry myself to sleep tonight, so it is what it is. We got our Starks right here. The middle linebacker that we took, he's going to go ahead and start for right outside linebacker because he's much better than Bartlett right out the gate, so that'll be good for us. Clinton Dix is there, and then Harrison Smith. Things we want to see in year 2. We want to see Yannick Ngakoue and Everson Griffin actually get some sacks, not some baby numbers. We want to see our rookies make a good impact, which, speaking of, I need to make sure our new guy is in the slot. We just want to see the team do better. I mean, the record we had last year wasn't terrible by any means, but by this team standards, it should be considered a disappointment, and especially the defensive statistics. I think, again, this roster is more than capable of making the playoffs. I don't think that should be in any kind of a question, but again, it's Madden. We're probably going to have a terrible year, like 3-14 or whatever the fuck it is. So let's get into this season. We're going to go ahead and sim to mid-season like we always do. I'll catch up with you then, and we'll see how it's going. All right, catching up in week 7. We just lost to the Cardinals 16-10. Our team record is 3-3, which appears to be a basically 3-way tie for first place. The Packers are at 3-2, and Detroit not too far behind us. So we got a tight division here again. Going to be tough to see if we make the playoffs. Let's go ahead and upgrade these players, see how the team's looking. Still an 82 overall. Let's check the stats before we check our contracts. Kirk Cousins, I just saw, was 32nd in yards, only 1,000 yards through 8 games, actually 6 games. So that's pathetic. Again, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, only sacked 9 times. With Herbert, Herbert was putting up better numbers than that, but with Herbert, I understood where his struggles were coming from because half of his season was spent on the ground. Kirk Cousins ain't getting sacked that much, and he's got weapons all around. He's got a run game. I got no excuses for him. This is just disappointing. From a running back standpoint, Dalvin Cook's doing well, minus the 0 touchdowns. Looks like Alexander Madison is kind of vulturing those along with CJ Ham. Kind of surprising to me, but it's all right. Thielen and Jefferson, both 224 yards, 21 catches, only 1 touchdown between the two of them. Our rookie Palmer is right for them as far as yards, 220 yards, 1 touchdown. Kyle Rudolph is just kind of chilling. 2 touchdowns, though, not bad. Irv Smith Smith kind of relegated to the bench. From blocking standpoint, Riley Reef, again, giving up a bunch of sacks. Brian O'Neill as well. But all in all, not bad. I mean, 2 of our starters haven't given up a single sack through 6 games, which is nice. Reef is definitely getting replaced. So we're just going to have to endure it for this season. It looks like we made a good decision bringing back Holton Hill. 43 tackles, 1 TFL, 3 INTs on the year. That's awesome. No forced fumbles, but that's okay. You keep doing you. Eric Kendricks right there with 41 tackles, a sack, and an INT. So he's doing well. Barr right behind him. And then Harrison Smith. Let's check out these sack numbers. Bobby Samuels. There we go. So despite having 2 of the best pass rushers in the league on his team, he said, get the fuck out of my way. I'm taking over. And he's got 5 sacks through 6 games. That's awesome. Very, very good pick right there for us. That's amazing. Bobby Samuels for president. Meanwhile, Yannick Ngakoue has 2 sacks and Daniil Hunter has 1.5. That is just pathetic. So I am very happy we took that defensive tackle. Definitely getting us some good production in there in the interior of the defensive line. Interceptions, we forced the math. That's 7 INTs. Holton Hill accountable for 3. Mike Hughes with 2. Eric Kendricks 1, and Clinton Dix with 1. Not doing too bad after being brought over. And we'll check the forced fumbles. We have 1 by Harrison Smith, and he recovered it. So with the exclusion of our 2 supposed stars not getting any sacks, our defense is doing pretty damn well. It's just the quarterback position. Let's take a look at our contracts. Harrison Smith is 32 years old, will be 33 at the end of the season and wanting 3 more years. I don't know. Wants about $5.5 million per year, roughly. We just got a lot of money tied up into Kirk Cousins. He's such a good player. We'll check back towards the end of the year. You don't really want to... We might see if we can trade him too, because I'm not really high on the idea of bringing him back because he's going to regress. So let's see if we can get anything decent out of him. And we might be moving Harrison Smith for the greater good of the team going forward. Brian O'Neill, we're going to want to bring back for sure. He's happy. We got him for 2 more years, so we'll check on him before the end of the 4th season and see if he makes it with us through the whole rebuild. Riley Reef, I'm not even going to think about offering you a contract. So we're going to take a look at the trade options, see what's out there, if there's a market for Harrison Smith, and then kind of come back and see how it's going. So I'll catch up with you if we end up making a move for Harrison Smith at all. All right, so we shipped off Harrison Smith. We couldn't get really anybody in return. Again, kind of like the last rebuild, every team was in cap hell. The Jaguars obviously have a ton of cap room after shipping off every one of their good players. So we sent them Harrison Smith and our 3rd round pick this year in return for their 1st round pick, which should be pretty high. I tried to also offload Kirk Cousins onto him, but they didn't want him. I don't know if there's really anybody out there that wants Kirk Cousins. I guess we can kind of take a look here. I would ideally want somebody young in return. I don't think we're going to get Teddy Bridgewater. So I think we're going to be stuck with Kirk for a while, but rookie, maybe we get this to work. And like that, we got our quarterback of the future. We offloaded Kirk Cousins to the Raiders. And just to show how broken this game is, they gave us their quarterback who they picked pretty high in the draft last year that has good stats. But then also they still have Derek Carr. I'm not really sure what's going on. They got a couple of draft picks for not this coming year, but the next year in return. We got a quarterback. So I think he only has normal dev, which kind of sucks. But we got out of Kirk Cousins' contract. Yeah, normal dev, but he's a 73. To take a look at his stats, 93 throw power, pretty good accuracies, 77 speed, not great, but for a sim, that doesn't really matter that much. I'm happy with that. We got out of that big contract. Oh, Jesus. Jeff Gladney is our starting strong safety. That just does not sound like a good idea. We'll pick someone off free agents to just fill in. So the rest of this year, we might be tanking, quote unquote, but we got 2 first-round picks for this coming year. We got a couple good, decent quarterback, in my opinion, in return. So we'll see how the rest of this year plays out. We'll get our quarterback some experience and then kind of come back and go from there. And for the record, I am clearing the cap penalty. This isn't a super realistic rebuild where every little bit matters, in my opinion. We can do those later on, but for the sake sake of this, I want to have a successful rebuild. I don't like Kirk Cousins at all as a Madden quarterback, as a real life quarterback. I just want him out of this team. He's not doing anything good for us. For that sake, I'm going to cut the cap penalty. I'm not going to do it every single time for every single player. Otherwise, I could just trade away my whole team and have no consequences. But for that contract that big, there's 100% no way I would ever agree to that. So I just want to get out from under it. But I also want to be honest with you guys. If I do cut that part out of the video, I did do it. So that way we can just move into the next season and not worry about any of his stuff going on. So just clearing there. And look at that. Our brand new quarterback comes in first game, throws 30 completions, 415 yards, 5 touchdowns. And you can't tell me Kirk Cousins wasn't the problem. That's insane. This rookie came in and just absolutely torched the Green Bay Packers. Won in a shootout. That's awesome. I only simmed 1 week. I simmed it mid-season, but I wanted to that's incredible. We did sign Justin Evans to fill in as the strong safety for the rest of the season. I didn't make sure he was starting. It looks like he is, which is good. I'd rather him start over Jeff Gladney, but we're not going to bring him back. He's just a filler. Moving on from Cousins' contract, though, should help open up options in this free agency. We didn't have any options last year because we had no money, and it kind of looks like we have a promising quarterback. Let's see how that translates to the rest of the year. Mid-season overview, though, post-trade deadline, our offensive line's the same. Drew Samia's progressing pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and make the switch to move Irv Smith back up with a competent quarterback, see if that helps us at all. I really want him to develop before Kyle Rudolph leaves. I know he's an 80. I know he's a star. Should be more than capable, but I think with a quarterback that actually seems to be able to throw the ball, it's going to open things up more. Other than that, not too many changes. Justin Jefferson is up to an 80 overall, which is good to see. Palmer's got an upgrade, so he should go up a little bit. Defensively, looking back, Yannick and Daniil Hunter are still doing their thing. Looking at the defense, Yannick and Daniil Hunter are doing their thing. Michael Pierce, Samuels are making a good tag team in the middle. So it's good to see our corners are holding it down. Free safety's good. So we're looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and sim to the end of the season. We already made our moves. Obviously, the trade deadline is gone. We don't have much else to do. I thought after trading Harrison Smith and trading away Kirk Cousins, the team might just kind of downwardly trend for the rest of the year, but we seem like we're in a good spot. So let's sim to the playoffs, see what happens. And it looks like we didn't make the playoffs. Disappointing. We went 7-9 again. We were just a game off of being right there in the contention. I'll take it. We lost two big pieces, the most notably of which Harrison Smith. Kirk Cousins was we offloaded him. I won't call it a big loss because I feel like the team kind of gained from it, but it's a big change. So I would kind of expect it. Checking on our stats throughout the rest of the year, considering only starting half a year, he threw for just over 2,000 yards. Not bad. Kind of came back to earth with 12 touchdowns and 8 picks. Not good. The sack numbers went up. I'm still optimistic for his future. He's up to a 74, maybe even a 75 overall after adding on the upgrade right there. He's still in a good spot. I would have liked to see the dev trait increase if we had a good year. We got 3 more seasons with him. Dalvin Cook, 1,200 yards. Dalvin Cook had 1,200 yards, kind of came back with 4 touchdowns. Alexander Madison, about 500 yards, kind of vultured most of the touchdowns, it looks like. He had 10 of them. And then our fullback, CJ Ham, with a handful, 3 of them. Zach Palmer was our leading receiver, but he had 52 grabs for 738 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not a bad year from the slot out of our rookie. Thielen only had 57 catches for 727 yards and 4 touchdowns. These numbers kind of look down, but the more and more I look at it, it's just pretty well spread out. Justin Jefferson had the most catches with 64, 665 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Irv Smith kind of came back to life after we put him back in the starting lineup. Him and Kyle Rudolph had similar years. Well-rounded year between our main core of offensive weapons. Riley Reef finished with 13 sacks, by far the weakest link of the offensive line. Everybody else was kind of around 3, and then O'Neal had 8. Eric Kendricks, 121 tackles, 6 TFLs, 4 sacks, and 4 INTs. This dude is going off. Absolutely a man that is unstoppable. Holton Hill turning in another plus 100 tackle season, which is good. Also 4 INTs, doing pretty well for himself too. Glad we re-signed him. He's been crucial for us. Anthony Barr, 100 tackles and 1 sack, no picks. Still a pretty good year. Let's take a look at our sack numbers. Obviously, right there, we saw that Bobby Samuels had 8. And finally, one of our star ends goes for double-digit sacks. Yannick had 11. Daniil had 6, which is still disappointing for an X Factor. But as long as one of them's doing all right, I'll take it. I mean, our big 3 right there from a sack standpoint, doing really well as a whole entire group. Kendricks had 4 and then kind of 1 for everybody else there. That was a much better year, improved getting to the quarterback. From an INT standpoint, I know we had our linebacker and our corner with 4 apiece. Mike Hughes had 3, Gladney 2. Justin Evans, for the half the season he played, came in and got 2, so that's actually pretty good. And then Clinton Dix with 1. Not a bad year altogether for the defense. Sack number definitely went up. That was one of our goals. So moving into year 3, we have some more things we need to work on, but all in all, I'm more confident about this team than I was after year 1. We'll upgrade these players, head into free agency, see if there's anything we can do, and then move into the draft, get ready for year 3. So Super Bowl 55 is a battle between the Ravens and the Washington football team. Interesting right there that Washington only took 2 years to turn it around. Patrick Mahomes won MVP. Demorius Farrow of the Bears came in 2nd. Interesting. Herbert in 4th, doing better than he did for us. Matt Patricia is apparently the head coach of the Seahawks and won Coach of the Year. Take a look at the NFC. Offensive Player of the Year went to Demorius Farrow. So the rookie came in, blew the doors off of everybody, which is pretty incredible. Nobody of ours on Offensive Player of the Year. Eric Kendricks won Defensive Player of the Year. That's awesome. Maybe we can get a dev increase to a Superstar X Factor. That would be dope. Reuben Foster on there for football team, doing well. Offensive Rookie of the Year obviously went to Demorius Farrow. He did pretty well from what I understand. John Barkley might be a quarterback that I think he is. I think I remember that name on the draft board. So it must be him leading the football team to the Super Bowl this year instead of Dwayne Trashkins. Our boy Mike Watkins came in 4th. Not too bad. And Zach Palmer came in 6th. So some nice representation from us. One we drafted, one we traded for. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Bobby Samuels. That's awesome. That better be a dev increase right there. Because if this guy's still a normal, man, we're going to have some problems. This guy absolutely killed it this year. Outdid my expectations for him. So that's awesome to see. Dante Starks, the middle linebacker we got playing right outside linebacker, was 6th. That's good. And Trevor Bartlett, even, who was a little bit buried on the middle linebacker depth chart, was in the running. And Bullware. So the Vikings have some good youth represented here on the Defensive Rookie of the Year. We drafted well, with the exception of a few picks, but that first year, we drafted pretty well, especially not having a 2nd-round pick. Best quarterback, we don't have anybody on there. That's okay. He is the quarterback for a football team, so I wonder where Dwayne Haskins is. Dalvin Cook got snubbed on the best running back list, probably because of his lack of touchdowns. 2 Packers receivers made best wide receivers. We had nobody. Defensive line, Bobby Samuels came in 2nd. That's good. Yannick Ngakoue in 4th, and that's about it. If we could get Daniil Hunter in this conversation here, that defensive line is going to be absolutely unstoppable. Best linebacker, Chandler Jones. Eric Kendricks is on the list. I wish he was a little bit higher, but I'll take it. Best defensive back, Holton Hill on there in 3rd place. That's a good one. So we went from having almost nobody in any of those races for awards to having stable representation all around. Bobby Samuels, I want to manually do his upgrade. I want to put more on his power rushing. He has a huge XP bar, honestly, at 10,000 points for just going into his 2nd year. That's really high, which sucks because it's going to take a lot to really upgrade him. I wish I would have checked the Pro Bowl, see if any of us made the Pro Bowl. I don't want to go through everybody individually and see on their progression if they made it, so we'll just assume that we got snubbed a lot. So advancing Super Bowl week, we should be able to check it now. Your Baltimore Ravens are your Super Bowl 55 champs over Washington football team. What? How did Anthony Barr go up to an X Factor? I like the X Factor. That's dope, but I kind of expected our middle linebacker, who absolutely tore it up this season, to be the one with the upgrade. Justin Evans, and all 3 of those, we didn't have too many people to re-sign this year. We traded Harrison Smith, let Riley Reif go. We're going to go ahead and advance to free agency. We need strong safety, left tackle, and that's really it. Just kind of depth other places, but we have quite a few people returning, so we're doing all right. This free agency class looks absolutely stacked. Tons and tons and tons of talent. So week 1 of free agency, our negotiations, we're going to try and get Jair Alexander. Nobody else has an offer in right now. We're also going to try and get Terrell Edmonds. We just kind of lowballed him an offer. I don't think anybody's really going to try and go after him, but he's a solid replacement for what was Justin Evans. I mean, about the same player, a little bit younger. And we just got Jair Alexander, which is fucking dope. Terrell Edmonds apparently seems like he's still on the fence about it. Adding Jair Alexander into the mix, this team is just stacked with talent on the defensive side. Really hoping we can pick up Terrell Edmonds. And as long as we get Terrell Edmonds, we're just going to go ahead and sim to the draft. I don't see anybody else on here we really want to go after. Calvin Ridley would be nice, but we don't want to spend that kind of money. We have 5th-year option on the way. We still haven't locked up Terrell Edmonds yet. Asking about Garrett Bradbury. Garrett Bradbury's been solid for us. We definitely want to keep him around before we have to pay him a big contract. So we will pick up his 5th-year option and be set at the center position for at least 1 more year, though I highly anticipate bringing him back beyond that. Terrell Edmonds is still chilling out there, not really doing anything. So if he shows up, cool. If not, we'll find somebody else. We'll be all right. He did end up accepting. So we got our strong safety after he held out, wanted more money. We were very stern, and he came for what we gave him. So strong safety's locked up. Let's get to the draft. So draft recap, getting ready to go into year 3. We traded away our last 2 picks. So keep in mind, we didn't have a 3rd or a 5th. So we traded away our 6th and 7th just because there wasn't much available, and we just gathered a couple more picks. Nothing big for next year. Maybe moved up around going into next year. We took Marcus Holcomb, number 1, with our first pick, which was actually number 7. Decent left tackle, better than what we got. I'm okay with it. Normal development sucks. Then we took Julian Hill, kind of the best player available that I saw. 76 overall. He was like the 5th best player in the draft. We got him at 9. Good stats. Just kind of stacking up on wide receiver. Like I said, he was one of the best players available. 95 change of direction is going to be nice. But also, we're getting to the point where Thielen's probably going to start dropping down. So that gives us an extra person. I think he was like 6'1". 6 foot. So an extra good receiver out there. Keep things going with our new quarterback once Thielen decides to kind of regress more. And then we took strong safety Troy Jones, also normal development. Might be challenging. He's a 73 overall. Might be working towards challenging Terrell Edmonds for a spot as the starter, but might take a year or so. And then we took a left tackle again. He kind of looked like he was going to have some decent stats. Martin Mason with the 4th round pick. Not that great. Our first guy is much better. So we're going to stick with him, but doesn't hurt to have a little bit of depth. And we're going to move into year 3. We have high hopes. Hope our rookie quarterback, not rookie anymore though, can continue building on what he started with last year and work out a nice rapport with our receivers. Hope Dalvin Cook can get things going. Hope the defense can keep putting it together, build off what they did last year, and then get ready for a whole new season. 84 overall team. We've slowly been increasing, not as dramatic as the increase the Chargers had, but we're up to an 84 overall. Our quarterback's sitting at a 75 normal. We want to at least see him get up to a star this year, would be nice. Dalvin Cook still chilling at 93 overall. Thielen is coming down. He was 90, I think, at the beginning. Now we're at 86. This is exactly why I drafted those receivers. We got Jefferson still there doing well, 82 overall. And then we got our boy Julian Hill that we just drafted right here. And then still Zach Palmer from last year. Our new left tackle's in there. Hopefully he can hold his own, gain some experience. It's a pretty big XP bar too. I don't know how. I've again forgot to turn on the XP sliders for this one. I'll be sure and do it for the next rebuild. I think that's really going to help our offensive line growth and the growth of the team overall. We're not going to start it in the middle of a rebuild. We'll just do that later. Tight end, looks like Rudolph regressed. He was an 83 at the end of the year, and Irv Smith's at an 81 also. So again, I'm going to move Irv Smith as the starter. This is his spot now. Kyle Rudolph will be just kind of helping complement him in the red zone, I'm sure. We need to move Dante Starks over to right outside linebacker officially because I'm tired of seeing Troy Dye try and get the starting spot. He should be starting. There we go. 73 overall. He did well. Still trying to figure out how Kendricks didn't go to an X Factor, but Anthony Barr did. Oh, well. We got Clinton Dix and Edmonds. Hopefully they put together a good team there. New big addition, Jair Alexander, helping put the clamps down for the cornerbacks. I like this team a lot. Hopefully, we can put it all together, make the playoffs. We're 0 for 2 so far. 3 years left. I really don't want to be back into a year 5 Super Bowl or bust type scenario. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this season started. Once we get to the regular season, I'm going to go ahead, set our goal once again to make the playoffs. I don't think there's any reason. I've said it twice now. We've been right there. We've been right there both times. It's not like the Chargers where we had like a 5-11 year. We've had good 2 solid years. Now, unfortunately, I think the Bears are kind of the team to beat in the division with their quarterback, it looked like. It's going to be a tough one. I really think we can do it. And we will see you at the mid-season point, see how things are looking for the Minnesota Vikings in year 3. So week 7, we lost 28-14 to the Lions. I haven't seen our record yet. I'm kind of scared too, but I do see this breakout player right here. First one we've seen so far. Julian Hill last week was disappointing. Drew up fluke. Oh, he missed out on it. I should really start simulating week by week. That way I can see things like that and, maybe jump in and help out the team. But I want to keep it as authentic as possible. That sucks. We could have really used him. Oh, wait. Oh, it is for this game. The way it was worded, it made it seem like he missed out on it last game. Looking at this free agent class to be coming up here, we got some people we want to re-sign. I would say we should re-sign Michael Pierce, keep him for the 2 years through the rest of the rebuild. He's been very solid for us. Irv Smith, 100% being brought back. Mike Hughes, 100%. Madison, let's see if we can maybe trade him. He does really good vulturing touchdowns for us, so I'm sure that there's a market for him. We got Dalvin Cook locked up. We don't need him. Well, that's just extra money we don't need to spend. Cole quit. Let's just find a new punter, 37 years old. Punter and kicker, apparently. So there's that. We can easily find someone on the free agent market. Drew Samia's progressing quite well for us, gone up several points throughout this whole rebuild. I'd like to bring him back. He wants 1 year. We'll see if we can get him for 2. He really hasn't been giving up that many sacks. So for a 68 pass block, I'm kind of shocked. I'll take it. Olabisi Johnson, probably... BC Johnson's not bad. We can find another receiver for depth. So let's go ahead and try. Let's get the ones we 100% want. So Irv Smith, go ahead and bring him back. He's happy. That's good. Mike Hughes, I expect to see the same thing. Contract length works, but that's it. The thing about Mike Hughes, I'd like to bring him back, but at the same time, we got Jair Alexander now, so he's not 100% needed. I would rather not let him walk. I'd try to get something for him. Bring back Drew Samia, see if he comes back for the last 2 years of our rebuild. Salary needs improvement. All right. We'll come back for him, I guess. Madison, we're going to try and trade. Let's take a look at the stats. We'll see if Mike Hughes fits in as part of the team, and then we'll wait towards the end of the year on Michael Pierce. I'm leaning towards re-signing him. He's only going to be 31 by the end of this, so he'll be good. Let's see how the team's playing. And it looks like our quarterback's kind of killing it. 1,600 yards through 8 or 7 games, 11 touchdowns with 0 picks. That is very nice. 18 sacks. That's worse than we usually do. Alexander Madison's doing a good job of, again, vulturing touchdowns from Dalvin Cook, but he's still rocking 533 yards and 3 touchdowns, doing pretty well for himself. Took a little bit of a slight not being put on that best running back list last year, so he's looking to make a case for it this year. Justin Jefferson leading receiver, yards, and actual catches, which is good to see. 4 touchdowns, doing well. Irv Smith, second on the list, and then Thielen, Julian Hill, our rookie, not doing too great. He must be in the slot. Either him or Jefferson might be. I would actually kind of bet Jefferson is. And he's our other outside receiver across from Thielen. That's a bit disappointing. I would like to see Zach Palmer more involved, but I think that's not going to happen until Thielen regresses enough that he's not towards the top of that chart. Right tackle Brian O'Neill is just a turnstile over there. Marcus Holcomb's doing all right. Samia's still only giving up 1. Bradbury only 1. So the core interior of our line's doing well. The outside, not so much. Mike Hughes making a case for us to re-sign him. 53 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 pick so far on the year. Not doing too bad. I'd like to re-sign him, but I don't want to overpay him because we don't He's not our number one anymore. Eric Kendricks, 52 tackles, two sacks, one INT. Still trying to make a case for him to get an X factor. He's got 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. If this man continues this pace and doesn't get a goddamn X factor, but Anthony Barr got it, I'm going to be so pissed. It just doesn't make sense to me. Both having great years. Eric Kendricks definitely doing better though. And our new addition, Jair Alexander, with 37 tackles, 2 TFLs, no picks yet. He is kind of a shutdown corner, so maybe they're not really throwing his way too much. Can't say that's true because he's allowed 26 catches. We'll see how he finishes up the season. Daniil Hunter on pace for his yearly average of 6 sacks, already at 3. Kendricks at 2. Bobby Samuels down this year at 2. Michael Pierce 2. Anthony Barr 1. Yannick 1. And from there, just kind of nothing. So sacks are once again down. There are several people with multiple sacks, but our stars aren't getting what they should be. Let's see. Yep, we're 6-1. So that's good. 2 games above in the division. Over Detroit. Bears are actually opposite of what I thought they would be. Apparently last year was just a fluke year for them. We're doing pretty well. 6-1 on the year. Our quarterback's playing well. Defense is an 89. Offense 84. Overall an 86. So even in the season, we're progressing really well. I like where the team's at. We're going to go ahead and stay put, not make any moves. Actually, that's not true. We're going to trade Madison. So we ship off Alexander Madison to the LA Chargers for their 2nd round pick in this coming draft. That's honestly, I expected maybe a 3rd, but they were willing to give me a 2nd, so I'll take it. So after evaluating the options, I think we're going to just go ahead and keep our cornerback and defensive tackle. Not much we really could have gotten out of anybody that would have been beneficial to us. It was kind of funny, though, seeing the Raiders not cap hit, but just cap absolutely destroyed because they're still carrying both Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins. Kirk's down to a 76 overall now, so we're going to go ahead and try and re-sign Michael Pierce. If we lose out on Mike Hughes, it's okay. Actually, I changed my mind as I said that. We're going to let Michael Pierce, I think, hit free agency and see if we can maybe bring him back that way. We want to lock up Drew. We want to lock up Mike. And then we'll see who's in free agents. I don't want to tie that much money to Pierce. Did our guy make a breakout player? Oh, as expected. Hit the negotiations one last time. I think he said he wanted more money. He's ready. He's cool. You take 3.5 and go down on the bonus a little bit. He's good. Okay. So we got our 2 guys we really wanted back, but with that being said, we're going to go ahead and sim to the end of the season and see how this all shapes out. We are 6-2 after that loss to the Cowboys. Please, Madden sim gods, bless us. So at the end of year 3, we did make the playoffs. That's good, but the team kind of hit a landslide towards the end of the year. We were 6-1 at the halfway point, and we finished 9-7. Not particularly good, but we did make the playoffs, doing better than we have before. Mike Watkins had almost 4,000 yards, 34 touchdowns, 5 picks. This dude was on fire this season. Tremendous growth from year 1 to year 2 for him. Doing better than Kirky did, Captain Kirk. So I'll take it. 41 sacks is rough, real rough. Hopefully we can cut that number down next year. 1,200 yards becoming kind of the norm for Dalvin Cook. 6 touchdowns. Got a couple more after we traded off Alexander Madison. Our quarterback also ran for 2 touchdowns, 32 times for 114 yards. Not too bad. Justin Jefferson putting up wide receiver 1 numbers. You do like to see that. 88 catches. Wow. 1,100, almost 1,200 yards, actually. 12 touchdowns. Absolutely blew the rest of the team out of the water. I love to see it. I don't even care. That's awesome. Thielen starting to show his age, down to less than 60 catches, almost 700 yards, and only 4 touchdowns. Irv Smith having a pretty good year. 55 catches, 636 yards, 3 touchdowns. Rookie Julian Hill kind of on par with what Adam Thielen did. He'll probably be looking to replace him this year. Kyle Rudolph had 6 touchdowns, so he's still doing it for us in the end zone. Not bad. Zach Palmer didn't do much this year, kind of the odd man out, but I expect that to change next year. Our 2 tackles, again, are just absolute revolving doors. Kind of disappointing to see Brian O'Neill giving up so many tackles, but our rookie, I definitely kind of expected that. But again, the interior of the line is just solid. Eric Kendricks, again, 120 plus tackles, 7 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, 1 INT. He had 2 fumbles early on. He still only had 2. I mean, that's a year. That's a stat stuffer year. And if this guy doesn't go up again, I'm going to be upset because it just doesn't make sense. Anthony Barr actually had a year that I could make a case for him competing for an X Factor. 115 tackles, 9 TFLs, 2 sacks, 1 INT, no fumbles. So we got a great linebacking core right there. Mike Hughes, who we brought back, 113 tackles, 4 TFLs, 2 INTs. Holton Hill, kind of a little bit down in production down there because of the addition of Jair. Only 1 INT on the year, 86 tackles, 6 deflections, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. I was hoping for a little bit more interceptions, but honestly, I'll take that. I'm happy with that. Bobby Samuels led the way with 7. That's amazing to see. I love the player that we picked doing well. Michael Pierce with 6 sacks as well. Daniil Hunter having 6. Yannick Ngakoue 1.5. I mean, this just doesn't make any sense. Why my 93 overall X Factor with all this, like a literal beast, can't get to the fucking quarterback. He had, Eric Kendrick had 12 deflections. I was about to say, Daniil Hunter had 12 deflections, so he's getting his arms up, but it's not even him. Might need to move off of one of them because they're just not doing anything. Yearly awards, we'll take a look at that. Got anything? Cam Newton, for the second time in this rebuild, won the MVP with the Patriots. We had nobody. Let's see if we got anywhere close towards Coach of the Year. We had a better year overall. We didn't, of course. NFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Daniel Jones. Mike Watkins came in second, so that's good. Showing lots of love there for us. Defensive Player of the Year was Dylan Cole. We had Eric Kendricks on the list. Not bad. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Julian Hill came in second, which is good. Defensive Rookie of the Year, we had Troy Jones finish 10th, which isn't bad considering he didn't start. Best QB was Daniel Jones. We got 6th. Best running back, Dalvin Cook's on the list. Justin Jefferson, number 1 wide receiver in the NFC. That's awesome to see. A lineman, probably nobody. Defensive lineman, probably nobody except for Bobby Samuels and Michael Pierce. So the 2 unsung heroes of this rebuild have been our defensive tackles whenever you would expect it to be your defensive ends. Eric Kendricks on the best linebacker list. No DBs, and we don't care about kickers. So we are in the playoffs for the first time. It took us to year 3. We just had to move off Kirk Cousins' contract and things started to open up. So Minnesota Vikings, take note. I think that's kind of your issue in real life. We play division rival Packers week 1 of the playoffs. Hopefully we can sneak in a win. I would love to see it. Let's see how everything sims out. We did it! First playoff win of all of our rebuilds. You'll love to see it. We won 31-7 in Lambeau against our division rival Packers. I'm really happy for us. So we won our first playoff game. New York Giants with Daniel Jones, who is apparently a god. So let's see how this one sims out. For playoff games, we haven't made the playoffs yet, really, other than the first season, a game or two. But I just thought we're going to actually do it this way. Go ahead and ready up, and we're going to sim so we can kind of see how it breaks down. If we get the doors blown off of us, it's probably going to be pretty quick. But if it's close, it'd be pretty interesting to watch rather than just kind of just sim through the playoff games. I think it'd be more fun. So first quarter action, defenses are holding strong. Nobody's really able to move. We get first blood, 7-0 Vikings, and then a quick 14-0. So heading into halftime with the 14-3 lead, can we pull off the major upset, 21-3? Our quarterback is saying it should have been me, not Daniel Jones, for Offensive Player of the Year. We win in. And we kick some ass. That's what you like to see. Some stats coming out of the game. Mike Watkins threw for 14 of 24, 221, 2 touchdowns, no picks. What a game. 92 yards was the longest pass. Oh my God. Dalvin Cook kind of bottled up in the end. Nyheim Hines scored a touchdown on the ground. Justin Jefferson, 6 catches, 51 yards, touchdown. Thielen, 3 into 18, not terrible. I think we figured out where our 92-yard pass went with that 91 rack from Dalvin Cook. That's awesome. Other than that, our receivers really didn't do much. Justin Jefferson's kind of the only guy doing anything. We gave up 1 sack from Brian O'Neill. Actually 3 sacks, 2 from Marcus Holcomb. So offensive line is holding well together in the playoffs. Anthony Barr led the way with 11 tackles, 2 TFLs. Bobby Samuels just continuing to produce 2 sacks in his second playoff game, I guess. First year in the playoffs. Yannick with 1.5. Michael Pierce with half of one also. That's awesome. Do we have any INTs? Did we pick off Danny Dimes? Haha, Clinton Dix did. All around, great team effort. You love to see it. We got our second playoff win. 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Can we do it in year 3? I am absolutely psyched for what is going on right now. Let's see who we play in the conference finals. And we play the Atlanta Hawks. Player of the week was Dalvin Cook after really just that one catch. That's about all that sealed it. Ooh, I am hyped up right now. We get a date in the conference championship in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to get into this game. We're going to sim it. I'm eager to see. We got an 87 overall versus an 81. It is Julio Jones, probably Matt Ryan. Never underestimate them. I like our chances, man, as long as the defense shows up. All right, so in our sim, we get the ball first, start off with a field goal. Again, defense is just exchanging blows. The Falcons did take the lead. We got it right back. Let's see if we can hold this lead into halftime. Tie game at half. I'll take it. Atlanta's going to start out with the ball. They go up 17-10. It's not looking good for us. The Falcons have taken over, and it looks like the Atlanta Falcons are going to the Super Bowl. Told you, don't underestimate them. We may have the better overall, but they have the experience. Mike Watkins, 24 of 40, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Dalvin Cook, 12 rushes for 50 yards. One thing in the playoffs is he's not really finding any room to run, which kind of sucks. Justin Jefferson putting together as usual, 8 catches, 86 yards, no touchdowns. Irv Smith doing well, no touchdowns. Julian Hill grabbing our only touchdown on the day. We gave up 3 sacks. Oh, no, more than 3. 5 sacks, it looks like. So not a very good performance. That Falcons D-line ate us alive. Yannick, another 1.5 sacks. Bobby Samuels 1. Danielle Hunter, half of a sack. We did not get any picks. So, end of the season stings a little bit because that was a great year. Maybe if our defensive ends could step up production and get us home field advantage throughout the playoffs, that'd be nice. But alas, after 2 seasons missing out on the playoffs to get all the way to the conference championship, have one hell of a season. I have no complaints. I'm good. Let's see how many of our guys made the Pro Bowl. I'm actually thinking we got a good chance of it this year. Our quarterback right there, Mike Watkins, makes it his QB3 behind Daniel Jones and Jordan Love. No Dalvin Cook. CJ Ham did make the playoffs as backup fullback. Justin Jefferson made it. Nobody on our defensive line, at least ends, should have made it. Bobby Samuels made his Pro Bowl. I would hope his second one in a row because his first year was better than this. Him and Pierce both did. So we got a good tandem right there. Them two together are just really killing it. All in all, good year. Can't complain. Moving on to year 4. I just wanted to say, interesting enough that it was the Falcons versus the Patriots again in Super Bowl 56. This time, the Falcons did not blow. Let's go. Right before free agency, again, he went down to only a 1-year deal for Michael Pierce. We're about to go into year 4. I think I'm going to let him hit free agency. We will try to bring him back if we can get it out of free agency, as long as nobody's trying to overpay him by any means, because he is very valuable to our team. But we're going to see who else is out there. So in week 1 of free agency, we're going to go ahead and extend an offer back to Michael Pierce. The production is just there because him and Bobby complement each other so well. Flip-flopping between 1 or 2 year deal. I think we're going to go 1, actually. He should take it and come back, and we'll see if he regresses after next year. If so, we can move on. And then bringing in a kicker and a punter. Go ahead and advance to week 2, see if we got any of those guys. Bailey accepted. Oh, Michael Pierce did not. Justin Jefferson, 5th-year option. Absolutely. We will want to push that contract off until next season. Oh, Jeff Gladney. We'll go ahead and keep Jeff Gladney around also for depth. So we got 2 of our first-round picks from the actual year 2020 brought back. Kind of sucks that Michael Pierce didn't come back. Sheldon Richardson's there. He wouldn't be bad for a year, but he's 32. Let's bring in this guy, Thad Winter. Throw him a 77-point deal. See if he wants to come home. So we got the kicker punter, and we signed this defensive tackle, 24 years old. Had pretty decent stats. We got him super cheap. He'll probably start alongside Bobby. So starting the draft, let's see what happens. So, draft recap entering year 4. We picked up a center, a couple defensive tackles, running back, outside linebacker, quarterback, cornerback, all normal devs. Whatever you got to do to get a hidden dev, we don't know how to do it. All of them are solid players. The quarterback's a little bit iffy, as well as the tight end. The defensive tackle, I took 2 back to back. They were 2 of the better ones on the board. I couldn't really decide, so I took both of them in the second round. I appreciate you stopping by. Like I said early on in the video, thank you for all of you who have been checking out the videos, leaving likes, comments, subscribing, things like that. If you haven't already, be sure and subscribe to the video. Turn on the notifications. That way you get notified when my videos go live. If you also want to check me out on Twitch, right there at Colossal Tugboat, drop me a follow. I haven't been streaming as much lately because I've been working hard on these videos, but I'm still working on getting a good balance of YouTube videos and Twitch streams. On there, I do a little bit more than just Madden. And more than just Madden will be coming to the YouTube. But for right now, I want to start and get my feet wet with this stuff. Follow me on all the social media links below. If you want to try some Raise Energies, I got some great suggestions for you. Use code Colossal Tugboat at checkout online, or if you just want to try a flavor or two, take my advice. I will give you any suggestion on flavor, and you can most likely find it at GNC or Vitamin Shop. But once you do find that one flavor you like, buy some cases. Use my code at checkout. Save yourself money. Help support me. That'd be greatly appreciated. Again, leave comments. Let me know who you want to see next. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Thanks for everything. Peace out. Love y'all.